Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are focusing on something that, you know, it looks so simple on the road, but it's secretly one of the highest stress spots for a collision.
The fork in the road.
Exactly. The fork in the road, or what engineers might call a lane split. We're not even talking about those giant freeway interchanges, just the simple places where a road divides.
And that simplicity is deceptive. They create these unexpected challenges that catch so many drivers completely off guard.
Which leads to confusion, and more importantly, those really dangerous last-minute swerves we've all seen.
That lack of preparation is, it's the key risk factor. A fork demands this almost instantaneous commitment. You have to decide your path, and then you have to execute that move in a very, very short window.
And it doesn't matter if it's a high-speed off-ramp or just a suburban street.
Right. The consequences of a mistake are immediate, and, the ripple effects can put a lot of other drivers at risk.
So our mission today is to turn that chaos into confidence. We've gone through the source material accident reports, defensive driving guides, to figure out precisely what makes these forks so treacherous.
And the goal is what?
The goal is to pull out clear, practical advice. How do you recognize the risks? How do you handle them? And how do you make that safer decision with, real confidence?
And we're really targeting the critical knowledge here. It's about understanding how things like, say, unclear signs, traffic patterns, and this is the big one, the typical psychological mistakes drivers make, how they all combine to just ramp up the danger.
It's about anticipating failure, not just your own, but everyone else's too.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the anatomy of the danger itself. We've synthesized the 10 most common risks here, but instead of just a list, let's maybe group them.
That's a good idea. We can really put them into three main buckets. You've got driver preparation failures, then traffic interaction risks, and finally, environmental factors.
Okay, let's hit those preparation failures first, because these feel like the ones you can actually control. This would include things like sudden decision-making, right?
Yes, that one, plus confusion and uncertainty, distracted driving, and being unfamiliar with the area.
So think of the fork as a bottleneck for your brain.
Exactly, a cognitive bottleneck. If you haven't looked at your route, if you haven't checked your navigation beforehand, that fork sign just hits you like a ton of bricks. It forces that sudden decision-making.
And the brain does not like split-second choices.
Not at all. It leads to what some psychologists call decision fatigue, and that results in one of two things. Either a really dangerous, sudden move, or you just hesitate, you freeze up.
And that hesitation, that links right into the confusion and uncertainty piece. If the signs are bad, or maybe you were distracted.
Which is another one of our risks, right? You might miss the signs entirely.
Is there a reason why that sudden appearance of a fork is so hard for our brains to process?
Oh, absolutely. When a road splits, the whole flow of visual information just changes drastically. And if you're unfamiliar with the area, another one of those risks, your cognitive load is already high.
You're already working hard just to drive.
Right, so you add in some bad signage and your brain just defaults to panic mode. That's when you see the sudden braking or the veering. The only way to mitigate that is preemptive action. Plan your route, check the GPS, and be looking for those signs well before you're right on top of it.
So preparation isn't just about knowing where you're going. It's about freeing up your brain power so you can handle the truly unexpected things.
That's it. Now let's talk about the second bucket. Execution failures and traffic interaction risks. These can happen even if you think you've done everything right.
Because the traffic around you is chaotic.
Exactly. This is where you see the abrupt lane changes, speeding, tailgating, and of course, aggressive driving.
That classic abrupt lane change,
The last
last-second swerve, feels like the poster child for this whole problem.
It's the single biggest cause of sideswipes and rear-end collisions at forks. It's almost always a driver who realizes way too late that they need the right split, but they're still in the far left lane.
And this is directly linked to speeding.
Right, directly. If you're going too fast, you have, dramatically less time to process the information. So you swerve because you've literally run out of road. The mitigation is non-negotiable here. You have to reduce your speed as you approach that fork.
Even if it feels like you're going too slow.
Especially then. You're buying yourself a reaction buffer.
Okay, but how does speed affect your vision in this specific situation? Does it actually narrow your field of view?
It does. At higher speeds, your peripheral vision is compromised. You get what we call the visual funnel effect. You're so focused on that one spot way ahead that you miss crucial lane markings or a car in the next lane.
So slowing down literally lets you see more.
You're expanding your visual field so you can actually process everything correctly.
Which makes perfect sense. And then you throw in tailgating, And that just multiplies the danger.
It's a domino effect. If that driver in front of you, the one who might be hesitating, suddenly slows down, your safe following distance is just gone.
Mhm.
Rear-end collisions are so common at these points. You have to give yourself more of a cushion than you normally would because you should be actively anticipating unexpected braking.
Okay, so the last group of risks are the environmental ones. Things like poor visibility and poor road conditions.
Right, and these are more mechanical issues. If you can't see the markings because it's night or it's pouring rain or the road itself is damaged, potholes, debris, you have to slow down. It's that simple.
Your headlights and your GPS become your main guides then, not just your eyes.
Exactly. And the last risk in this group, aggressive driving, that's purely defensive on your part. Someone cuts you off or just refuses to yield.
What do you do?
You stay calm, be patient, avoid engaging. Your safety is the priority, not, being right about who had the right of way. They're adding chaos. Your job is to reduce it for yourself.
You know, what's fascinating here is how almost all of these dangers just circle right back to human preparation, or I guess a lack of observation.
It's all about anticipating chaos. And our source material had two critical tips on this. This is really the aha moment of this whole section.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, when you're driving near a fork, you have to be on the lookout for someone changing their mind right before the lane splits.
So not just a lane change, but something more drastic.
Much more. It's the driver who committed to the left path, sees their mistake at the last possible second, and then tries to cut across the solid white lines, the gore point, to get to the right. That is a major cause of collisions.
That's a powerful visual. You're looking for the behavior of regret.
Precisely. And the second tip. Whenever you approach a fork, you should just expect that someone may change direction at the last moment. Even if they look totally committed, just assume they might panic.
So that knowledge should make you drive with more space, more awareness.
It completely changes your focus. You're not just monitoring your own movements anymore. You're actively monitoring the potential movement of every car around you.
That's powerful. Expecting the mistake is the first step to avoiding it. And that brings us perfectly to the solution. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's move from the dangers to the actual step-by-step guide for doing this correctly.
Okay, so we're moving from the chaos we anticipate to the order we impose on our own driving. And the whole system really starts with observation and preparation.
So we're approaching with caution, slowing down, checking signs. But practically, how far out should we be doing this?
Ideally, you're checking signs and your GPS at least a quarter mile out, maybe even a half mile. The second you see that first directional sign for the split, your speed adjustment should start.
And then step 2 follows right away.
Instantly. Signal your intentions. Signal early. Give everyone else on the road plenty of notice. This is your main communication tool to stop someone from cutting you off.
Okay, so beyond just looking and signaling, the real core skill here seems to be proper positioning.
It dictates your entire safety margin, yes.
We know we need to be in the correct lane, but what defines correct positioning here?
It's about being proactive. First, determine your direction. Use all the tools you have. Then, choose the correct lane well in advance. Don't wait until you can see the physical split in the pavement. That's the panic zone. You want to be settled in your lane long before that.
And once we are in that lane, does it matter where we are within the lane?
It does. You need to maintain proper lane position by keeping your vehicle centered. The lanes at a fork often curve or shift subtly. If you're drifting towards the dividing lines, you look like you're about to swerve. Stay centered.
And of course, before that final move, you have to account for everybody else.
Absolutely critical. Before you make any final adjustments, check mirrors and blind spots. Do a full shoulder check. Make sure there isn't a motorcycle or a speeding car hiding right where you need to go.
Okay, then we get to the actual execution.
Right. You have to maintain a safe speed that allows you to make the turn without losing control. And then you make the turn smoothly and steadily, just following the lane markings. Smooth inputs are key.
Let's run through that example scenario from the research. I think that really helps lock this in.
Okay, imagine you're on a long road and you see a sign. Highway 99 to the left, local road continues to the right. You've planned your route, you know you need the highway.
And your GPS says, in 500 feet, keep left.
Exactly. The signs confirm it. So the preemptive phase starts right then.
What's the first move?
You immediately signal left, you check your mirrors, your blind spots, you notice a truck coming up fast on your right, so maybe you adjust your speed a little to let them pass. Then you position yourself in that left lane, centered, slowing down slightly.
So by the time you actually reach the tip of the fork,
You're already committed, you're correctly positioned, you're at the right speed, there's no drama.
you've completely defused the crisis. It becomes a smooth, intentional move. But what about when other drivers haven't listened to our deep dive? What if someone else isn't following the rules?
That's a high-risk situation, and defensive measures become everything. The first step is internal. Stay calm. Don't honk, don't make gestures. Escalating only makes it more dangerous.
So collision avoidance, not conflict resolution.
That's the goal. And physically, you have to maintain safe distance. If there's an erratic driver ahead, you need to increase your following distance way beyond the normal amount. You need maximum reaction time for when they inevitably swerve or brake hard.
And what about that advice to avoid confrontation? What does that mean in practice?
It means you let them go. Let the aggressive driver proceed even if they cut you off illegally. Your safety is more important than being right. A minute's delay is better than an accident.
So use the horn only as a last resort.
A brief, decisive tap just to alert them of an imminent collision. And if their driving is truly dangerous and it's safe for you to do so, maybe note the license plate and report it later.
Okay, that covers the external dangers.
Yeah.
But let's flip it. Scenario 2. What if I make the mistake? I'm in the right lane, but my GPS suddenly says I needed the left. Can I change my mind after I've passed the fork?
The safety verdict here is absolute. Changing your mind is extremely dangerous and is generally not recommended.
Why not?
The speed difference between you suddenly slowing down or trying to reverse and the traffic still flowing through that fork is massive. You become a stationary obstacle on a high-speed road.
So if I miss my turn, the hard and fast rule is do not reverse.
Correct. Reversing there is basically an invitation for a serious rear-end collision. The safer required alternative is to continue and reroute. Just proceed to the next safe and legal place to turn around.
And where is that next safe place? An exit ramp? An intersection?
Any of those. The next intersection with a light, a designated exit, a parking lot you can pull into, a marked U-turn spot. You have to just accept the mistake and take the scenic detour.
And this is where we should trust the technology that's designed for exactly this kind of error.
Absolutely. Utilize technology. Let your GPS recalculate. That's what it's for. Modern systems do it instantly. But again, the best prevention is just planning ahead in the first place. That's the difference between an orderly drive and a dangerous scramble.
So what does this all mean? We've covered a ton of ground here. To synthesize this, let's leave you with the 8 core action verbs that really make up the checklist for navigating a fork safely.
This is the list that turns intention into action.
Number 1, observe, scan for signs early and start to reduce your speed.
Yeah.
2, signal, tell everyone what you're planning to do way in advance. 3, position, get in the correct lane and stay centered.
4 is check look for other vehicles, especially in your blind spots. 5, adjust speed, maintain that safe, controlled speed for the maneuver. 6, turn smoothly, no jerky movements, just follow the lines.
And 7, verify, make sure you're on the right path after the fork and you're matching the new speed of traffic. And finally, number 8, handle conditions, adjust everything if there's bad weather, heavy traffic, or the road is a mess. That list really shows that safe navigation is a system. It's preparation, alertness, and defensive action all rolled into one.
And that leads us to the final provocative thought. We've given all these clear rules for our path, for our positioning, but the source material keeps forcing us back to the biggest variable, human error.
The other drivers.
Always the other drivers. The most dangerous factor at a fork will almost always be the sudden, unexpected action of someone else. The person who changes their mind, the person who's speeding, the person who is distracted.
Right.
So the true measure of your preparedness isn't just knowing your own path. It's anticipating the potential for chaos all around you. Use that knowledge to drive with more of a cushion, more awareness. Always allow space for the mistake you didn't see coming, because that space, that's not just reaction time, it's your ultimate safety zone against predictable human failure.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.